Good night, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Thanks for joining me on this evening. I feel like I'm trying to fill the word count on an essay or something. All right, so this episode, I just wanted to talk a bit about my own musical journey, how I even got into, making music, and the path, and just a few little side facts about me on the way. So let's get into it. As you can see, hopefully the recording is working. I might actually get up at some stage just to double check, because I definitely hit record. The bucket hat is back because it is king. It was the victor of the poll against the Bunnings hat, and I actually voted for the bucket hat, so I'm very happy. And the hoodie is back, but I've already started to sweat a bit, so it's strap yourselves in for some heated conversation this show. Now I'm sipping on heated almond milk with collagen powder with cinnamon, nutmeg and stevia. So very bizarre, and does suit my character arc very nicely. Just an update. There's a new song that will be coming out maybe in a few weeks called Yeetodine. The song is, I made it a few years ago. It's a certified banger in the circles. And I did consider re-recording it because it was made with my old equipment, so the quality isn't as good. But I've decided that it's just as good as it is, and I've just had it sent off to get it nice and polished up by a professional mix and masterer. So hopefully it'll bring out the real character and soul of the song. And I didn't want to re-record it and kind of lose the magic. So that's long overdue, that one, and I'm looking forward to it. Now onto the content for today. I actually made a list of things I wanted to talk about, so I will be referring to the list, and I will be calm about it. So how I became interested in music, I guess it runs in the family, because the great PK Senior, or DJ Senior, he used to do mobile discos back in the day, and he was quite popular around the circles, as you can imagine, with his personality. And at home, we had one of his microphones, and I think I was about 6 at the time, and one day I just started recording me singing a song into the microphone using like a tape recorder. And I was just always interested in, that's me on the recording. And I think that's how I kind of started getting into the recording or the music type of thing, with that type of starting point. Now, my parents' music also was a very interesting mix. They played a lot of Michael Jackson and Barbara Streisand and Five Guys Named Mo and all kinds of random songs constantly, I think when they were cleaning the house or just on the weekend doing gardening. And not that really influenced me to learn how to sing or anything like that, but that's just the type of music they played growing up, and I assume it's influenced me in some type of way. I remember when I was about 12 and we went around Australia for 3 months, my parents and me and my brother Paul, 3 months driving like around the outside of the country and down the centre. I think we did about 35,000 Ks. And I think it was the first album that I ever bought, which was Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And it was like a tape. So before CDs. or maybe CDs were there, but my parents just didn't want to pay for the CD. I don't know. But yeah, I really liked that album. I listened to it a lot over that 3-month period. But it's just funny how the style of music I like these days is like the opposite, which is, mumble rap and trap and that type of thing. So that is still a really great album though. So thanks to the parents for buying me the tape. Another memory I have was setting up buckets in my house and pretending to be the drummer from Hanson. So that was also just a random thing that I did. And I remember me and my brother and a couple of friends down the street, we used to get together and pretend we were in I think one day we were in Five, the boy band from the 90s, and then Hanson and that type of thing. So that was good fun back then. It's time to drink from the fountain of youth. And then the descent into my current style began with my older brother Peter, who he was heavily into Eminem and NWA and Tupac. And I started to listen to a lot of Tupac, who is probably my favorite rapper. And I like all his albums. I like his albums after he died. And I think that kind of set me on the path to getting into that style of music. Because by the time I was 18, that's when I was really peaking into that style of music. Because that's when the GOAT, Soulja Boy Tell 'Em, came out and released his first album. And I was the biggest Soulja Boy fan, and still am to this day, of all time. I would hunt religiously for any new song of his around that time. I would defend him when people would call him a one-hit wonder. I bought all his albums that he released. I've got the actual physical copies of the album. And he is just... I think he was inspiring because he was the first internet rapper, and he used FL Studio, which is what I use, and he kind of did it himself and made his own beats. In terms of the internet. So that was always a good time listening to Soulja Boy, and I will still listen to him to this day. Even though the thing about Soulja Boy is 99% of his songs are garbage, shocking, terrible songs, but there's always that 1%. So that's what it was like an addiction. It was I've gone through 50 of these shit songs, but then you get a good song like Kiss Me Through the Phone and several others, because he's not a one-hit wonder. So there was that phase, and around this time as well, my good friend Jurian, the great Jurian, Adrian can tell me, he was starting to mess around a bit with FL Studio, and I was trying to, this is around 18, where I was trying to make beats, but I didn't really know how to, and I wasn't really prepared to learn. So it was a weird kind of I want to do it, but I'm not going to put in the time. So eventually we made a few songs together, which was basically just taking the piss out of our mates. And they were just really fun things to do together, just to make songs and make a few jokes about the people we know. But for me, I remember doing it and I was like, I really like doing this. And there was just something about it which I wanted to kind of pursue, but I thought, I don't know how to do this or what to do. So I kind of just left it behind. But it did manifest around the same time in a different form, where my very first girlfriend, she was into the emo phase, and I subsequently was drawn into the emo phase. So then I started listening to a lot of metal, like Parkway Drive and I Killed the Prom Queen and Bring Me the Horizon. Started listening to Metallica for the first time. While She Sleeps, though, heavy bands with Screamo and that kind of thing. And that was around the time where I got my ears pierced and a lip piercing, and grew my hair long and started buying some questionable items of clothing. One of them was it was a jumper which had Mickey Mouse, but it was like a zombie Mickey Mouse with I think his brain showing. It was very alternative and eyebrow raising. But anyway, because I got into that type of music, I decided that I'd start learning to play the guitar. So the funny thing about this is you can see my anxiety manifest as well during this phase because I started playing the guitar and learning as a right-hander because that's kind of all I had available. But I am naturally left-handed. So that's relevant to the later part of this story. So I started learning guitar, started to get lessons, and I was taking it really seriously in terms of practicing. Because after about a year of playing, I was learning scales and technique and this type of thing, and I found a teacher, Simon Candy, which is a great name, who lived nearby, and I actually started getting lessons from him, and he was teaching me how to practice efficiently and how to best manage your time. And I actually made a spreadsheet of the different things I needed to practice each day. And I literally would set a timer and be like, okay, 10 minutes of scales, do the 10 minutes, put it in the tracker and calculate how many hours I'd spend practicing, which is good because I improved quite a bit. But the problem was that much structure was just sucking the joy out of it. Like I started to hate it, and I would get anxiety thinking about practicing. And if I didn't practice what I needed to, or I'd planned to that day, then that would negatively impact me. And I'd be like, why am I doing this? I would have those sort of anxiety inducing thoughts where I'm like, I'm not good enough. And you're never going to be good, and always comparing myself to other players because I would look up on YouTube and that type of thing of these amazing guitar players, and then I'd compare myself and be like, I need to practice because I need to get to that level. And there was even a stage where I was thinking about going to because you need to audition to get into music school, because I just had this kind of urge of there's just something about music or playing guitar that really attracted me. I think, when you're playing a song or recording a song or whatever, it's like a really great escape and it's creative. So it kind of takes away, to an extent, the feelings of anxiety. But I find that when I mix or whatever I'm doing, the anxiety can creep in if I'm trying to get something to sound a certain way or to try to be too perfect. So it's just trying to harness the anxiety into my favor and to balance it so I don't lose the enjoyment. Because what ended up happening was, as I said earlier, I'm left-handed. And after a year of playing, I thought to myself, I'm not sure if I'm going to be maximizing my potential here. I was thinking, if I play right-handed for, say, 10 years, how much better could I have been if I played left-handed, with my left hand being the rhythm hand and being dominant? And I actually bought this $1,000 right-handed guitar. It was a Randy Rhoads, who was the guitarist in Ozzy Osbourne's band. It was a V-shape white ebony fretboard. It was a beautiful guitar, and I just got it right-handed, but I decided I'm going to switch to left-handed. So I ended up selling that guitar, which was just such a beautiful guitar, and I miss it so much. My replacement is quite good now, but what happened was, if you change from right to left-handed, it's not like the skills transfer. You literally are starting again. I would say I picked up the basics a lot quicker, but I literally had to start again and teach my fingers, my right hand, how to use the fretboard as opposed to my left hand. Sorry, the screen just locked, and I was losing the notes, even though I didn't really need to refer to them. But anyway, time for another Got Milk.